Assalamu alaikum, our dear students. Welcome to a new lesson for our school, Qatar Technical School. This is an English lesson for grade 10 using Technical English Book 1. The title of today's lesson is Cooling System 2. As usual, and before we start any lesson, we need to know the objectives of the lesson. The first objective today is explaining a house cooling system after studying a diagram. The second objective is making sentences with if using the first conditionals. To do or to follow today's lesson, you have to open the course book. But today we need to go to 2 pages. For the first objective, we need to go to page 41, and for the second objective, we need to go to page 50. Now let's move to page 41 to do task 7. This is a simple way to cool a house in a hot country. How does it work? What happens at each stage 1 through 11? Let's study this carefully. As you see on the left at the top, there is the sun which makes the house hot. Now let's look at number 1 on the right at the bottom. This is a pump. This pump pushes cold water, as you see, in the pipe, and we notice that the color is blue, which means cold. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 is at the top. There are 2 water sprays. Okay, so there are 2 places that spray water, and of course this water is cold. Number 3, hot air enters the house through the air inlet. Look at the left, you see the word or the phrase air inlet. Number 4 shows that the air goes down and it's cold air. We know this because the color is blue. Number 5, the air goes down. Number 6, there is an air vent, the hawaya, that allows the air to enter the house. Number 7, and inside the house the air is cool. Of course, we see that the air is rising. We see this from the arrows, and it goes to number 8. On the left we see number 9. This is a solar chimney. Chimney means madkhana. And number 10, what happens? The air goes up and through the air outlet, and number 11 is hot air. Now let's study together what's going on. The water pump pushes cold water to the top of the air, towards the air inlet. When hot air enters the house, it meets the water spray, the cold water spray, and because the cold air is heavy, it sinks to the bottom. Of course, the air becomes cold when it meets the water spray, the cold water spray. Then when it is heavy, it goes to the bottom. Then the cold air enters the house, and this way the house becomes cool. After some time, the air becomes a little bit hot, so it rises and it goes to the solar chimney, which is exposed to the sun. Then the air becomes hot, it goes up and leaves the system through, or the house through the air inlet, and what leaves the house here is hot air. So hot air enters at the top on the right and leaves at the top on the left. Between these two, it becomes cold and it makes the house cool. Okay, now on the same page, page 8, we have here the same diagram, and we have exercise 8. Complete this description of how the cooling system works with the verbs and prepositions in the box. Let's read the words and the prepositions in the box. Cool, enter, flow, heat, leave, rise, sink, around, into, out of, through, and to. We have studied before all of these verbs and prepositions. So I'll give you like 7 minutes to read the text, complete the text with the description with words, and then come back for a check. But to help you at the beginning, let's see the first two examples. The pump pushes cold water through the pipe to the top of the tower. Here, the water leaves the pipe through small holes. It's like a cold shower. Okay, now please pause the video, answer the questions, and come back for a check. Okay, now I assume that you have paused and answered the questions. Now let's check together. We have two spaces in number 3. Let's see what goes here. Hot air enters the tower. Very good. Through the air inlet. Number 4, we have one space. The shower of cold water cools the air. The cool air then sinks to the bottom of the tower. The cool air enters the house, and then it flows around. Now we will start sentence number 8. It flows out of the house and into the solar chimney. Number 9, one space. The sun heats the chimney. Number 10, and the hot air rises. The hot air finally leaves the chimney through the air outlet. Very good. Okay, so far we have achieved the first objective for today. We looked at a diagram and described a house cooling system. Now let's move to the second objective, which is related to the if clauses first conditionals. Before we do this, we will do an exercise, but we need to see the meaning of some words. This is an ice cream, and what's going on to the ice cream? What verb does it express? Melt. Melt. If you leave the ice cream in hot weather, it will melt. Second picture. As you see, the water here is not moving because the weather is very cold. And what happened to the water? The verb here is freeze. Freeze. A third word. As you see here, we put the water on fire for a long time. So what happened? Boil. Boil. Finally, what happened here to the rubber band? The man is trying to stretch the rubber band. Okay, now let's move to page 50 to answer this question. Complete the sentences with the correct form of the verb in the box. The words are boil, freeze, melt, rise, which means go up, sink, which means go down, and stretch. Let's do the first one as an example. If you heat water to 100 degrees centigrade, it will boil. Very good. Now I'll give you 3 minutes to answer questions 2 through 6. Please pause the video, answer the questions, and then come back to check the answers. Okay, now after pausing the video and replaying it, let's see what the answers are for the rest of the questions. Number 2, if you cool water to 0 degrees centigrade, it will freeze. 3, if a heater warms the air in a room, the air will rise. 4, if an air conditioner cools the air in a room, the air will sink. Number 5, if you heat steel bars to 1400 degrees centigrade, they will melt. Number 6, if you pull a copper wire very hard, it will stretch. Very good. Please don't forget to go to Teams to do the homework. You have 24 hours to do the homework. We wish you all the best. Goodbye.